Welcome to the AirCon Vault. Here you can find recordings of the live streams from Eric's audio conference. These are made free thanks to our sponsors. A sound effect, Audio Kinetic, Boom Library, Bright Skull, Dolby, Fmod, Game Audio Learning, Game SoundCon, Kilohertz, Motion Picture Sound Editors, Rev Rooms, Sound Cuts, Sound Warriors, and Airwiggles, the online home for audio creatives. We hope you enjoy the video.
Hi friends, I'm so excited to be here with all of you today. This is going to be a good time. We are talking about how to protect your creative brain and body from burnout. Burnout sucks, but we're going to talk about it because none of you deserve that. Let me make sure I can pull up my notes. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Okay, first of all, who am I? I'm not a therapist, but I am someone who has experienced burnout. Professionally, I am a freelance orchestrator and private educator. I'm the associate director of Game SoundCon, so I know how much work Lewis and Greg and their team have put into this. It is a lot, and they're doing so great. I'm also the production manager for the Gang Awards, the executive director for the Music Creators Academy, our 3-week virtual live video game music workshop is July 6th through 24th. You should go check it out and join us for that. I'm also the music director for the Adaptive Needs program at Tanner Dance. We do musical theater. I do part of their day program. In April, we performed Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella at a theater in downtown Salt Lake. It's a big, full program. Additionally, I'm an industry activist. I do work with the Females Composer Safety League. I've also done work with Mamas in Music. I'm a mom of 3 kids. I'm a bookworm, a lover of nature, and I am a verified chocoholic. So it's fair to say I have a lot on my plate. So I'm not sure how it's not all falling off, but it's important to realize that I don't do everything all the time or all at the same time. But I have had to learn how to balance many things all on my plate all at once. And so how does it not lead to burnout? We're going to talk about it. First, I want to say with my advocacy work, I am trauma certified. I've taken courses and I've worked with trauma survivors, specifically women in the music industry who've experienced workplace or sexual abuse for the past 6 years. And if you need to talk about safety or anything like that, I can be that person if you need it. If you don't have someone, never hesitate to reach out. This topic, from a safety standpoint, is so important when we talk about burnout or workplace culture or team building of any kind, because burnout is a form of trauma. You don't have to identify as a traumatized person. That's totally okay. But we're talking about a specific experience that your body is having with it. So, some quick definitions. Trauma is not the event. It is the psychological and physiological and psychological change that happens inside of us during an event or after prolonged toxic stress. So there's good stress, like planning a vacation can be good stress. Toxic stress is stress that happens over time and builds up without any release. Trauma almost always includes a removal of agency and connection. On the flip side, healing always includes giving agency back to the person and always happens in community. A quick allegory to show that trauma is not the event, the real life story of my sister and I when we were young, and we were feeding ducks and geese at the side of a lake, and a goose decided to start chasing us, and I was like, ha, it's a goose chasing us, and my sister goes, it's a goose chasing us, and to this day she is still terrified of geese. The event is not what mattered, it was how our body processed it. So I hope that makes sense. Burnout, this is a limited definition, but for our purposes here, it is a physical and mental state of debilitating exhaustion after a prolonged or repeated state of increased stress. This is a systems problem. It is not a personal failing. You are not weak if you experience burnout. It is because there is a system in place that is either creating prolonged stress or is removing support from you during a time of stress. So, no feeling bad about what you are experiencing. It's not your fault. Hope is the first of two primary remedies to burnout. Hope is also the primary remedy to despair. Hope is a skill. It is not just a feeling. It can be practiced and learned. I absolutely love the definition by Brene Brown that hope is not an emotion. It's a way of thinking or a cognitive process. Emotions play a supporting role, but hope is really a thought process made up of what Dr. Snyder calls a trilogy of goals, pathways, and agency. So it's a matter of knowing where you're going, setting realistic goals, being able to figure out how to achieve those goals, being flexible when things are hard, to be able to get up again and again, being persistent and believing in ourselves. So that is remedy number one. Remedy number two is resilience. This is something that we build. We're not born with it. It's the capacity and flexibility to deal with stressors and still function. So Dr. Bruce Perry says that resilience is developed by engaging with challenges that are moderate, predictable, and controllable. I love this. It is so hope-filled because the fact that these are both learnable skills is extremely empowering. I get really excited about it. If you are already in crisis, because resilience is built before the crisis and then used during a crisis. If you're already in crisis, worry not. I promise you have more resilience than you might think right now in this moment. And we're going to talk about how to access that. Okay, why this matters. We are creative beings. You are a creative being, and our brains are built for two things: protecting us and storytelling. So protecting us always comes first and will override anything else. We cannot create, we cannot be fully creative and take risks and be vulnerable if our brains do not feel safe. It will override it. So I want you to think back to a time of overwhelm or stress and what was happening in your brain and body. We're going to do a little hand model. You can do it with me if you want. This is your brain. If you put your thumb in, this is your amygdala. This, all your fingers over your thumb, is your prefrontal cortex. This is your brainstem. So your brainstem is where all processing comes through for your brain to activate with anything. Everything goes through the amygdala first. The amygdala processes everything first, and that is where we determine threat. So your fight, flight, freeze, fawn, stress responses, they're called autonomic because they're automatic. They happen without thinking because that is its primary function, how to keep us safe from threat. So if your brain processes it as a threat, it takes control. So your prefrontal cortex, which is where we have learning, growth, connection, curiosity, all these things that we need in order to be creative, it goes offline. And the amygdala is running everything until it comes back online. So protection always comes first, before storytelling, before creating. And so we need to have safety if we're going to create things. And burnout is a threat to us. It does not like it. So we need to figure out how to do that. So please remember, your response to stress is completely normal. However you respond, there's no right or wrong way to respond. It is a normal response to an abnormal experience. We are not built to be in a period of stress for days, weeks, months, which sometimes crunch can be that. Sometimes, whatever situation we might be in. And so remember that this is a systems issue. It's not your fault, but we can build strategies of safety. There needs to be reform. That is not what this talk is about, but there are still things that we can do about it right now, but the burden should not fall squarely on your shoulders alone. Healing happens in community. Okay, the how of hope and resilience. So hope and resilience, it's possible. The three main things that build hope and resilience is self-compassion, connection and community, and action. So Kristen Neff is the foremost researcher on self-compassion, and she talks about how happiness is not dependent on circumstances being exactly as we want them to be. It stems from loving ourselves and our lives exactly as they are. This is very difficult. It's easier said than done, but it is very possible. That knowing that joy and pain, strength and weakness, glory and failure are all essential to the full human experience. There is no such thing as a good emotion or a bad emotion. There are only human emotions because we're all human. They're all normal, good things that give us the information that we need. With connection and community, Judith Herman teaches that trauma and repeated stress creates isolation and shame, while community has the power to create belonging and affirm the individual's dignity. Brene Brown, again, defines connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. So again, there's this power of agency behind it, this feedback, bringing it about. We thought about a time when we were super stressed. Now I wanted you to think about a time when you felt connected, secure, safe, loved, belonging. What was present that enabled those feelings? Amanda Palmer said that you can only connect the dots you collect. We have to go through it. We have to go through the thing. We need to experience the thing. You can't just run away from it because it still lives inside of us. And belonging is essential to our well-being. So when we are stressed, the way to get the prefrontal cortex back online, first we have to regulate it. Then we relate, build and turn to connection, and then we can reason. You cannot logic yourself out of stress, out of a stress response. It does not happen. This is the order of operations because the thinking part of the brain is offline until regulation and relation happens first. This is how we start to get the prefrontal cortex online again. We'll talk about specific strategies in just a minute. So, self-compassion, one of the main things that builds hope and resilience. There are three main parts to self-compassion: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. So self-kindness is, how are you talking to yourself? Are you beating yourself up all the time? Are you saying, I'm never or I will always be bad at this? Are you blaming yourself? How are you showing up for yourself? That is self-kindness. 2, common humanity. Realizing that we are all human and we all struggle. This is a hard thing. To struggle and suffer is human. Sucks, but it's true. Can I let myself be human in this moment? Realizing that I'm not alone. P.S. There's no such thing as trauma Olympics. There's no, what happened to them is so much worse, so what's happening to me doesn't matter. There's also the flip side, the opposite of the spectrum is, it's not that bad. Why are you so upset about it? Right? Both of those create trauma Olympics. Not allowed. Don't allow it. And then mindfulness. What do I need in this moment to be taken care of? How can I remind myself that I can trust myself here and now? So those three things build up self-compassion. And then resilience happens with, who can I turn to in your community? What boundaries need to be enforced? How can I celebrate the things that I've been through? Celebration is so important because if we avoid what's happening, ignore it, downplay it, then we're not building resilience. We're building resentment, and that will show up later without our control. It's like when our brains know that tax season is over, but our bodies still feel super stressed and uptight and tense, and you don't know why. It's because we need the stress to release from our body. It's the same thing with deadlines, same thing with a toxic team, or with anything else that you might be experiencing. So let's practice. Let's come up with some practice techniques. Situation. We're going to play a little mind strategy. You've been in crunch for 3 months. You've had little to no sleep. You have inconsistent meals, very few breaks, or you feel guilty about the breaks you do take. This is toxic stress. These are normal reactions to the stress. So what can we do about it? We need to first recognize the space between what is happening and what we can do about it, because there is a space there where we can act. Then we practice regulating. Going for a walk, exercise, go outside, give yourself a hug. Fun fact, your brain can't tell the difference between somebody else giving you a hug and you giving you a hug. If you really lean into it and breathe deep, the dopamine and serotonin will build, and you can do that for yourself. Sing a song, activate the vagus nerve, become grounded in your space, feel the feet against the floor, name 5 things you can see, smell, touch, etc. All these things that help regulate your nervous system. And then we relate. Text a friend, the friend that you've been ignoring because you've been too busy, or as a mom, text your mom, call your mom. Snuggle a pet or a stuffy, ask someone for a hug, go to an event that is not a work event. Create art or bake bread, something that's not work related. Let yourself fail. Play a game, expand the world outside of you. My sister, when she was first starting, she had really bad depression and she was trying to figure out how to manage it. She loves The Sims. And so she realized that she needed to give herself a Sims checklist. So, have I eaten food? Have I drank water? Have I gone to the bathroom? Have I had a shower? Have I, she would go through have I gone outside, played an extracurricular activity? She would go through her Sims checklist to see, what am I missing to take care of myself in this moment? After that, our prefrontal cortex is back online. And then we can reason, think critically. Why am I feeling this way? What is missing? What can I control? How can I back myself up? And then you use your agency to create a plan with help. Gather that community. That's where healing happens. Even the smallest thing on the hardest day makes a difference. One of those smallest things for me is I'll go brush my hair if I feel super out of control of things. Brushing my hair is a great way to do that. Okay. What you create and contribute is important and is worth protecting because you are important and worth protecting. One step at a time will get you up the mountain and back home again. You don't need to run or climb faster than the people around you. Each step creates an impact, no matter how small it might seem in the moment. Remember that when juggling 100 balls, it's essential to know which ones are plastic and which ones are glass. Sometimes a shower is plastic, and sometimes if you don't take a shower right this second, everything is going to shatter and break and your life is going to be ruined, right? Sometimes it feels that way. Sometimes, family things, outdoor things, fun things, work things, right? We need to be able to know what that balance is, what can bounce back and be picked up later. Take a self-compassion break, make a plan, take action, build awareness of what you need so that you don't engage in self-betrayal, and include your community as you build your creative protections. And this is where hope and resilience is built. I believe in you. I hope you believe in you too. If you need a reminder or someone, please contact me. I love reminding you why you're awesome and how you've got this. So please keep hoping, keep trying, and together we will create amazing things. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if people have asked questions. Let me see. Okay. Spotlight. Samantha, with burnout in mind, how have you managed both your career and being a mom? Oh, working when you have a baby, times and seasons. Remembering that this is not what it is forever, right? There were things that I could not be doing what I am doing right now, all of these things, when I had babies. I started doing a lot more once all 3 of my kids were in school. And so remembering that you don't have to do everything all at once right now. Do what you can when you can. And then make sure that you're doing something to self-replenish, because being a mom takes a lot out of you. You have to give all of yourself to that, and then also a lot of yourself to your job. So find those ways to self-replenish.
Hey, Karina, that was great, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, honestly, that was really awesome. Sorry, I came in to ask you some questions, but you've already worked out how to do it.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, I can take over for you, so we can.
Okay, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, honestly, that was such a fantastic presentation, and also one that I think myself and a lot of people very much needed to hear. So thank you so much for sharing all that with us.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's move on to this next question then. Stop spotlight. Cool. Okay, so Aline asks, how as a community can we help folks struggling with a burnout? What is the best thing you can do to give relief or helping someone to get back on track?
Great question. Don't ask them what they need. They don't know. They're already so overwhelmed, or they feel like they have to do it all because they're in that stress response mode. So if you have a good relationship with them, if, like, let's say you're close by, telling them, hey, I'm coming over to do your dishes, what day works? And they'll be like, oh, no, it's fine. You're like, no, really, I'm coming over. If you don't tell me I'm coming over tomorrow, is there a better day? Giving them the options of, this is what I can do for you. If you don't have like a personal life relationship, but you see it happening at work, figuring out how you can support them in their work environment. Do they need help talking to their boss? Do they need help taking breaks? Do they, things of that nature, being able to find a way to say, you're not alone in this. And you might have to convince them a little bit, but being able to find ways to, hey, even having someone say, what they're doing is not normal. This is not normal. And you don't need to make it feel normal. That can even go a long way. And just constantly checking in without pressure.
Thank you, Karina. I'll keep working through some questions. We've got about 5 minutes left, so we can go through hopefully quite a few of these questions. Can I ask, can you stop sharing your screen if that's okay?
Oh, yes,
so we
yes,
can
yes.
see us a bit easier. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Anonymous asks, any tips for working through guilt or shame around using medication, feeling like we should be able to push through?
Oh, that's such a good question. First of all, realizing that guilt and shame are two completely different things. Guilt is because you have done something wrong. Shame says, I am wrong. So you're not wrong for needing support. You're not wrong for needing support. I have multiple disabilities. I have chronic pain. I take medication every day because pushing through doesn't work. It hurts me. And so knowing that you're not the only one who experiences this way, remember, common humanity, part of self-compassion. We're not supposed to push through. That's not your job. And you are not a bad person for needing to take breaks. You are loving yourself when you take breaks. You are planning for the more amazing things that are yet to come by letting yourself replenish now so that you can do those things later. And if it's within the support network of your doctors and your healthcare providers, we don't want to self-medicate. I don't think drugs are a good idea personally. There are healthy ways to make sure that we are coping and receiving the support that we need in our health. So it's a hard feeling, and I'm so sorry, but remove the shame. You don't need to feel shame for that.
That's a fantastic answer. Totally. I mean, whoever asked that question, like I was the same. I felt a little bit uneasy about the idea of it, but medication helped me so much when I was using it. So yeah, I think yeah, as Karina said, I totally agree. Okay, Aline again asks, what would be your advice to get rid of the idea that taking rest and being unproductive gives a feeling of being unworthy?
It's so hard because we live in a society and a culture that tells us that productivity is equal to our worth, right? So realizing that you are a creative being whose worth is inherent, cannot be changed or moved or taken away by any other outside force. And there are some great books that you can read. Laziness Does Not Exist is one of them. Self-Compassion by Kristen Neff is a great one. The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor is a great one. Something that she said in that book when I first started this journey of chronic pain is that you don't owe anyone your health. And that was a huge mind changer for me, because I was like, I need to be this and this and this for my family, for my work, for my friends, for all of these things. And like, no, you don't. When I rest, I'm a better mom. And when I take break days, or if I can tell that I'm pushing too hard, I know that by resting now, I'll be able to do things tomorrow. Because if I push through today, I'm going to be in bed, fully bedridden with my disabilities. I'm going to be fully bedridden for at least 2 to 3 days. And then what am I doing then? Like, it's a hard balance, but reminding yourself that your worth is not what you do. You're so much more than that.
These are amazing answers. You said at the start of the talk you're not a therapist, but honestly, I think you probably could be. You might not even know.
That's why I have to say, like, I have to give the disclaimer. I'm not
These
a
are
therapist because I
fantastic
have a lot of the
answers.
skills, but this is not medical advice.
Of course. Well, I really appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone does as well. This is gold, Karina. Thank you. I will do 2 more questions going, and let's do this one first, which is Josh asks, do you have any practices to work on self-compassion? I find myself lacking with that component at times. I have a great routine, touch grass community, but tend to be tough on myself often.
It's a great question. And yeah, I will put the names of the books in the Hangout chat after this. But take a daily self-compassion break. Like, and this is a specific, what is my struggle right now? Name it. Is it, I'm just talking really meanly to myself, whatever it is. That's really hard. Like, name it. This is suffering. And we're not comparing the suffering to anyone else. This is a suffering moment for me. What can I do? What do I need right now to help myself in this moment of suffering? Can I let myself be human and back myself up? And then also just remember that your brain learns how to talk to you by how you teach it to talk to you. You're not inherently like good or bad at anything. Your brain learns how to talk to you because you teach it that. So when you notice that you're talking really mean to yourself, I started talking back to my brain and being like, hey, thanks, brain. Thank you. I know you're trying to help and protect me right now, but that's not kind. And we say kind things. So let's try to say this instead. And it feels silly, but it works every single time. It might take a couple times and it takes practice. But again, these are skills that can be practiced and learned. So the more you do it, the easier it becomes over time.
That's a great tip. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to do one more question. Even though we are running quite late, so this will be the last one, unfortunately. I know I want to spot this one because I also felt connected with this a little bit. So, say you're freelancing and you dug yourself in a hole with multiple clients who will need something and have deadlines that are so important, and you're working loads of time. I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit because I'm relating my own experience as well. There's just so much to do, and it's all very important, and you have to work like crazy hard just to get it all done because it seems like there's no other way. You're in a situation where it's very overwhelming. What is the first step to take in such a situation to not break down and still manage it all?
Find the smallest thing you can do on the hardest, busiest day and make sure you do that every day for you, right? What is something that no matter on your biggest, everything is on fire day, that you can do consistently that will help you feel safe, secure, and loved. If it's, for me, it's brushing my hair. Sometimes it's just do a quick doodle. It could be a smiley face. Give yourself a smiley face. Write a permission slip for yourself. Text a friend and say, hey, in 2 hours, can you please text me? You've got this. Like, I will give very specific instructions to my husband and my friends sometimes of like, hey, I will need this kind of backup. Put a timer in your phone. Please send me that message. That's when I'll need it. Right. So you want to make sure that when there's a lot going on, that there's something consistent you can rely on. And then back yourself up, right? Build that self-trust. And when you're managing deadlines all on top of each other, it's important. I think it's important to communicate that with the people that you're working with. If you have multiple projects, I like to tell them, this is my deadline with you and I'm going to meet it. I also have deadlines with these 3 other people that coincide at the same time. I'm working on yours and this is what I have done and this is what I have planned and this is when I will get it to you, and make sure that it's realistic. But then, so if I don't respond to your email immediately, it's because I'm working for you and I'm working on 3 other deadlines. You don't need to give all the details, but I think people want to be understanding. You just have to give them something to understand. So make sure that you're setting yourself up with a good support system in those moments.
Okay. Karina, that was amazing. Thank you so much for such amazing answers, such an amazing presentation. Unfortunately, we are a little bit over time, so we're going to have to end the stream here. But again, I know this is such an important topic for so many people in this chat. As you said, Karina, you'll be in the Hangout space on AirCon26.
Yes, I'll be there
in the chat right now. So any extra questions you have for Karina, you can post them in the Hangout space, and hopefully Karina can get back to you. So yes, thank you again so much for that. We're going to be moving on to, we're going to be focusing away from the ears and onto the eyes of our next stream as we have a talk about eye health, which, to be honest, is something that you all need to, you all have probably been overlooking, pun not intended. So yes, I'll see you all in the next stream.
Thank you, Lewis, and thank you everyone for being here. You're amazing.
Thank you so much, Karina. That was such a great talk.
Bye.